going to go there.
I'll
In fact, I'm going to start sharing my screen right now, and that'll be our launching point.
Chris, thank you. I'll get muted again. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes, Chris.
Thank you, Commodore. Okay, good morning, everybody. It's 9 o'clock and we're going to kick this off. Welcome back to, there's quite a few of you, I'd say about 80% or more that were in last weekend's class. And a warm welcome to all those who are joining us for the first time. We've already had a couple of questions about where to find this information after the session. I want to thank the Commodore, first of all, for hosting us and also providing the YouTube link with a live stream. And both are being recorded, so it's all going to be available afterwards. I'm going to start my camera too, so I didn't put on this uniform for nothing. Good morning again. Okay, you should all see my screen, and it's the district11s.org website. This website has come a long way in the last few months. There's a lot of great information here, and I'm going to use the opportunity, since we have so many people from the district on the call, to kind of make a few plugs in general that would come out of the DIROC's office if Leslie had the floor, or the OTO, and kind of an update on what's going on. And while I'm doing that, I'll also show you how to find the AUXDATA 2 specific stuff. So first of all, AUXDATA 2. You can see the tab here on the screen, and right under the first option, AUXDATA 2 frequently asked questions. Click on that, and you're going to find some of the gouge, some of the information that came out of last weekend's presentation. We have a couple of great reports from Laurel from National, and also a code list summary. This is going to be excellent information for everyone going forward to look up a specific mission code and the appropriate OPCON for it. And then a whole bunch of different Q&A basically on AUXDATA 2. Okay, while I'm here, we actually have our very first maritime or marine patrol going out tomorrow. I believe it's David Van Bunker up in the Ventura area. So phase 2 is a reality. There are some hoops that we have to jump through to make that happen. The information is all here on the D11SR Auxiliary Phase 2 rollout screen. And it all basically starts with an assignment to duty request form. It kind of walks you through. Please go here to get all the information if you want to participate in phase 2, so that you do it all correctly. But I just did it myself, and so off the top of my head from memory, I'll tell you basically what we have to do. What you have to do is come up with, if you're going to do a marine patrol, a boat patrol, you have to come up with a bubble, a COVID bubble, and everyone in that bubble has to have both the bloodborne course, and I'm going to show you here in a little bit how to find that, completed and in AUXDATA. And you also have to have a high risk or a COVID risk assessment form on file with the DIROC's office. Once those two things are accomplished for each crew member, you can have up to 6 people in your COVID bubble. And then it goes, basically that is submitted to the OTO and to DIROCS for approval. Once the OTO approves your bubble, then the next step is to fill out this assignment to duty request form, where you can lay out a block of time up to a week long, where you would be theoretically, if approved, submitting an actual patrol request, and that goes in to the OTO. The OTO passes that on or works with the OIA at sector, and if they determine that the mission that you want to perform is something needed or wanted, then they'll come back and go, you're clear to submit an actual patrol order request. And that is going to be right in the middle of our presentation today. We're going to be going through the entire new AOM, the new patrol order, new facility inspection, all the new procedures in AUXDATA 2. We're going to be demoing step by step, so you'll see how that goes. Okay, while I'm here on the district website, also e-forms and reports. I like to point this out because there's a lot of confusion still. There is a D11 SR qualification and recertification form, and this is where members, flotilla commanders, MTs or IS will go in, and basically it's the method we're going to use going forward to submit a new qualification, for example, for a VE or an IT or a PV to DIROC's office. You make sure you have everything you need for the qualification. It's a way to notify DIROC so that they can actually make the certification. Okay, so we're doing that electronically now. We are also going to have, right now we also have an OXOP form. As you know, the proctoring rules have changed for OXOP. So has the pass percentage is up to 90%. But anyway, the way you notify again the DIROC's office that you believe you're ready for OXOP is via the form available on this website. And then we're going to have a new form, hopefully within a week or two, which is going to be the way that members notify DIROCs that they have completed some of the courses, okay? Some of the either core training or ICS courses or the myriad of courses that we have available to us and take. This has caused a lot of consternation and confusion over the years because nobody really knows when they take a course, is it for sure going to be automatically, uploaded or migrate into AUXDATA, either old or new, or do I have to submit a proof of it and have it manually entered? And the bottom line, what we've been telling everyone for a long time, and it's still very applicable today, is whenever you complete a course, you want to make sure that you take a screenshot or have a printout of the transcript or a certificate, or whatever you have to show that you have the course, even if you're 99% sure it's going to migrate into AUXDATA 2. The reason for that is it doesn't always happen, okay? Anyway, the new form that we're going to have is going to be designed so that you can upload the proof or evidence that you took the course and identify obviously which course it is, and it's going to be hopefully not fall through the cracks method of notifying DIROCs, because those kind of things have to be entered by either DIROC's office or a DIROC's volunteer. Okay, regular IS, even the SOs, are not going to be entering these tasks on a routine basis. So the DIROC's office has to. Okay, now the other often confused part of courses is where do we take them? There are 2 different websites. Okay, I'm going to go to my home page here. Pay no attention to the URL. If you guys can even see it right here, it's UAT, starts with UAT, which is user acceptance test. So this is what we call the sandbox. I'm going to be using the sandbox today for all the demonstrations because we're going to be making patrol order requests. We're going to be starting new offer for use for new facilities and some other things that we don't want to be doing in actual production. So Sandbox is a way that the vendor and the programmers test new features all the time. So it's not only a mirror actually of production of the actual AUXDATA, but it's actually usually one step ahead a lot of the time, because the next upgrade or next phase is integrated in a little bit earlier here. Anyway, like I went through last weekend in the beginning, there are some very useful quick links on the main page. Now you can see mine, welcome AUX25 user. That's my user UAT or sandbox test name. You'll see in production, obviously, your own name here, and the links will be the same though. And what I want to point out is the auxiliary online classroom and AUXLMS. Now, AUXLMS has been around forever. However, it's being phased out. And you may have seen the AllAux that came out recently, just a few days ago, actually. I think I have it up here, I do. Which it talks about termination of Adobe Flash Player very soon. Actually, some of the courses are not going to be available on AUXLMS after December 28th. So we've had a lot of questions. Well, what do I do? How do I take the course? And do I need to do it right now? And in some cases, you might want to. The two that stand out to me, especially if you want to get involved with the phase 2 COVID bubble patrols or activities, is number 13 here, the bloodborne pathogens. It's available in AUXLMS. Yes means it's available right now, and no means after December 28th, it won't be. Okay, so that is one you might want to jump on. Another one that stood out to me is the Introduction to Risk Management. Probably 95% of people on this call have already taken that. But if not, you might want to, and new members are certainly going to want to because you need it for any certification, basically. And it is already not available on AUXLMS. So there's usually a workaround for any of these courses. There are PDFs available that ITs can instruct. So that's kind of like our fallback position. But again, up until the 28th, that bloodborne course is going to be available. And I'll show you that right now. Yes, this is the online classroom. This is AUXLMS. Again, you can get to either of these sites via your homepage in AUXDATA 2 and the links provided. Passwords are different. For AUXLMS, your user ID is going to be your primary email address in AUXDATA. For online classroom, it's going to be your member number and your member's own password. Enough said on that. I'm going to go into AUXLMS and log in. And what I'm going to show you, if it goes, it says waiting. Here we go. Okay. They've added it to the auxiliary side too, I believe. It used to be just in Catalog Coast Guard Gold, but let's see if it's here. I believe it is. Catalog COVID. And there it is. Course 100293, Bloodborne Pathogen Awareness 2.0. This definitely will not automatically update when you take this course. There's quizzes throughout it and a little test at the end. It's not hard. It doesn't take long, 30, 45 minutes tops, but you'll have to keep a screenshot or a printout of your transcript and submit it to Dirox to get entered into the system, okay? The online classroom, that's the other site where we can do all our core training. We can do risk management. We can do basically the idea is in the future, AUXLMS is going to be history, and everything that we need to do as far as courses are concerned will be available through the auxiliary online classroom, and ultimately it'll all automatically update into AUXDATA. Okay, enough said on that for now. Back to the homepage. Where we left off last weekend was activity logs. We had a great brief from Laurel on mission codes, and then that rolled into how to enter our time, how to create an activity log, and go from there. We went through some basic examples. We're going to pick up where we left off. Okay, so for those of you that have enough screen real estate, it works really well to be able to see my screen and follow along on your own screen with your account logged in. If you have the screen real estate to do that, I highly encourage you to do so. If not, no problem. Two reasons. You can take notes as we go. And also, again, these recordings are going to be available on the district site the last weekend's is available already, and it was like, I think 4 or 5 hours after the session, and the same thing will happen today, thanks to the Commodore, okay? So without further ado, we're gonna create an activity log, and the way to do that is these menu tabs up here are all clickable, and activity logs is what we want. So we're gonna click activity logs, okay? And we're gonna click new. This should be old hat for all you people that were on last weekend, okay? The first thing we're gonna do is a very simple one. It's gonna be today's activity. So take notes if you're not logged in, or do it right now. And I hope my email box, at least from my own flotilla, floods with new activity requests for approval, okay? New activity, 95% of the time, you're gonna use unit/individual, which is the default, okay? We'll talk about the exceptions later, but unit/individual is what you're gonna use. And you're gonna click next. Now this form pops up. You could call it a form or call it an e-form, whatever you'd like. Basically, this replaces all the form numbers that we used to do. So we're gonna do a 99 Delta right now for this training. 99 Delta is for training, and everybody is a lead, and then we're gonna go through that process to start out. But that is what you would do with a 7029 form in the old system. If you do a vessel safety check, it would be a 7038 in the old system. Whatever form in the old system it was, the number doesn't matter anymore, and there is no different form. Every single mission code that we do in the auxiliary is available right here with the red asterisk next to it, okay? This is where we enter all our time. I'll stop here just to say the same thing I said last weekend, and this is important for members to know, and IS in particular. Not everyone in the district obviously is on this call. Not everyone is interested in AUXDATA 2 or ever being on AUXDATA 2. There is still the option, and always will be, at least for the foreseeable future, to make your entries, or excuse me, to submit your time on an old-fashioned form or a piece of paper. Doesn't matter. As long as the IS officer receives it, they can enter information for you, okay? But I'm assuming everyone on this call, they want to know how to use AUXDATA 2, and one of the beautiful things of it, one of the big improvements with this system is you can enter your own time, and that's what we're going to do right now. Unit and OPCON, in a few minutes, when we go into some different mission codes, I'm going to show you when you would change those. But both of these default, and any of these little I buttons, if you hover your mouse over it, it's going to tell you the basically information about this particular field. And this is telling us it's the order issuing authority. And if it's left blank, it will default to your district. And that is what we want it to do 95% of the time. Again, I'm going to talk about some exceptions in a few minutes. But for now, we're just going to leave that as is. Review status, we're going to leave open as is right now. Operations code, this is not used often, but it is something to be aware of. There's a drop-down list, and it's going to be things like, as you can see here, aux chef. We have some chefs in the program that would use this as an operations code. Musician activities, COSTI when we get back to normal operations, and a lot of special things like the hurricane responses and stuff, obviously more on the East Coast. You would use an operations code. Generally speaking though, for almost all of our entries, you're just going to leave that blank as well. We'll go to mission code, and here the 99s come up front and center because those are the ones we're going to use the most. And again, all of you on this call today should be putting down 99 Delta, activity code, leave blank. Don't touch that. Mission start time, go ahead and use today. Time is not that critical for a 99, but to be accurate, we're going to say we started at 9 o'clock. And this should go approximately 4 hours. So I'm going to put in 4.0. You can just put 4 as well. Summary of activities, we highly encourage you to use this. In fact, it's not like a hardcore requirement from National, but it almost is, because what the IS officer is going to do as part of the approval process is match your mission code with what you say you did, your summary of activities, basically remarks. Okay, so I'm just going to put AD to training. It's totally whatever you want to put down as remarks. Again, that'll be looked at by the IS officer before they approve the activity. That's all we need to do for a 99. We're going to talk again in a few minutes on some of the other options further on down the form, which are dependent on what mission code we use. So for now, we're good. We're going to click save, and the detail page is going to come up. Okay. These tabs are important, at least a few of them are for everybody. Details is what we're looking at right here, and it's the information that we entered or that defaulted. As you can see, it defaulted to AUX25's home unit, Dana Point, the OPCON 11th Southern, which is our district OPCON, which is the default. Review status is still open. It's going to stay there for now. Our mission code 99 Delta, activity code, which I said to leave blank, it defaults to what it should be, so no worries there. And there's our start time and our duration, and it automatically calculates the end time and your summary of activities. So we're happy with this. Even though I see up here, owner is AUX25 user, which is me in the sandbox, and you will see when you make your own entry, your name there as owner, that it does not mean the activity has been tied to you. It only means you're the one that created this record in Salesforce, in AUXDATA 2 for us, okay? Everything that's created has a record and an owner of the record, which is the first person to basically create it, okay? So this doesn't mean a lot to us. What we have to do is navigate over here to add member. Click add member. And I do see some activity log requests coming in my email. So people are way ahead of me. That's good. Okay, add member. The easiest way you can start typing a name in here, but I found the easiest way is a user or a member number. I'm going to do AUX25 because it's not my actual member ID number here. But in production, that's exactly what you type is your user, your actual member number. Then you're going to put a check mark next to your member ID and make sure it's you. And then you have to add members. Okay. Now you notice your member, your name populates down here in the lower field. Position defaults to none. So we need to change that. Whenever we do any 7029 mission, any 99 A, B, C, D, or E, we're always lead. Even if, like today, you're actually being trained, doesn't matter for any 99 mission, you're a lead. Okay, so we change the position to lead, click update activity members, and green is good. You see save was successful. Okay, we're not done. Notice that the review status is open, and it's going to stay open forever. If you logged out now and went off and did other things, this is never going to get onto an IS officer's desk for approval. Okay, what we have to do is navigate back to the details page. And here is your review status of open with a pencil icon. Wherever you see a pencil icon, it means you can edit that particular field. All right, and we need to edit this. So you're going to click on the pencil icon. We're going to click the drop down and change the status from open to approval requested. Okay, the other options you will not have. I mean, you'll see them, but you won't be able to use them. Only IS can. For regular members submitting time, approval requested is what you're going to click, and then you're going to click save. Okay, now that is going to go to your FSOIS if you have one. If not, it's going to go to your SOIS for your division. And after I finish doing a few more of these entries, and you guys are old hat in making entries, I'm going to show you what IS looks at and how the approval process actually works from an IS standpoint. Okay, but that's all we have to do for this. You can see that the review status is approval requested. Again, it's in an IS box for approval. We're done with it. That's it. Okay. Any of the chat moderators, I'm going to stop for 10 seconds just to see if there's any burning questions. Otherwise, I'm going to press right on into another activity log. Okay, silence is good in this case. We're going to go new. Again, activity logs new, unit individual. next. And we had a question actually last session, if I remember correctly, about PVs, marine dealer visits. And those of you that did them, remember the old form on 7046. The electronic version was a little awkward and you couldn't put fractions of an hour. An hour was as little as it would take per line item. So we had some workarounds for that. Without going into that, this works a lot better. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to pretend this is in Sandbox that we just did marine dealer visit mission. Okay, so again, we're going to let unit and OPCON default. We don't have a mission code, an operations code associated with a PV. We do have a mission code. So we're going to scroll down to 11. If you don't know the numbers, that's no problem. They have the printout right here on what each mission is. So you find the mission you want. RBS visitor missions, boom, click it. Activity code's going to default. Let's say we did one on the 3rd and we did it at noon, that's fine. Let's say we did 2 hours, that's fine too. And I'm going to just put PV visits. All right. This is one of the mission codes where more information is needed. Now, in production, I know this works. What I'm going to do right now is to show you, I'm going to test that if I try and click save without filling out more information with a mission code that requires it, it should give me an error message. So I'm going to click save and see what happens. Sure enough, it says, review the errors on this page. Please fill in number of visits field. Okay, I can do that. All right. Unfortunately, for that demo, I'm going to have to start over, but I can do it pretty quick. Okay, so mission code 11. I just wanted to show you how if you don't do it right, it's going to let you know most of the time. All right, so in this case, program visits, let's say we did 2, and we put the business names here just like we used to do on the 7046, okay? That's all you need to do. 2, and the business names, for brevity, I did West Marine ×2 and save it. And then we're into the same page with every activity log we do. It's gonna start off once you save it with this details page, quick check of unit, OPCON, mission, PVs. Yes, it's got my 2 West Marine, I'm good to go. I've got to put myself in as the member, okay? AUX25, click your name, add members. Most of these have a validation built in, whereas if you try and make yourself lead for a PV and you're not a qualified or certified PV or you're REYR, it's going to give you an error message. Same thing with any mission code as lead that requires a certification, whether it be VE or anything else, okay? AUX25 is a PV, so this should take. Save was successful. Again, we're going to go back to details. We're going to go edit the review status. I'm going quicker here on purpose. This should be starting to become routine. Change the review status to open to approval requested and save it. Boom. There's another one in the IS desk. Okay. We're going to move right along. Activity logs. I want to give a few examples here. This next example is going to be a UPV. Uninspected passenger vessel, special qualification, and it's one of the examples where we're going to use a different OPCON, not the default district OPCON. Okay, so again, unit individual, next, UPV. They are going to use sector. So you just start typing sector, Los, and there it is. Sector Los Angeles LB. What OPCON means, it's an acronym for operational control. It's basically who is the order issuing authority for that particular mission. UPVs and all the MS missions, you're actually working for sector, not the district. So that's why the OPCON changes. A little bit later, in fact, pretty soon, we're very fortunate to have Bill Schultz on the call, one of the premier comms people in the nation, really, for the auxiliary, and he's going to explain some of the OPCON differences for radio stuff. So I'm personally looking forward to that. All right, so for this UPV mission, we've changed the OPCON. We can leave the unit to default as is. Operations code not applicable here. Mission code, it's one of the 91s, right? Because it is like a vessel safety check, but more. And here we have an uninspected passenger vessel 91 Delta. Click that. When did we do it? Let's say we did it on Wednesday. We can leave the time. Again, you can select whatever time you want or whenever you did it. And whatever your duration was, it'll take tenths, even hundredths of an hour. Okay, and then you could put in here for both vessel exams, UPVs, anything like that, whatever remarks your SOVE or whoever is in charge of the mission you're doing at a higher level, whatever remarks they wanted to see on the legacy forms, you can put in here in summary of activities. For example, you might put the documentation number of the vessel that you inspected, or the marina slip number, whatever information you used to put in. You have plenty of room here in summary of activities to put the same as remarks. And then again, if I clicked save right now, it's going to say, hey, how many exams did you do, etc. I'm going to say I just did one. Wasn't the first time. The guy passed, and it wasn't high focus. Okay, and then we're going to click save. There we go. Back to our details page. Defaulted to data point. OPCON stayed the way we wanted to, sector LA, LB, and all this information like we just put in there. Again, got to go to add member. You got to find the member. And then, by the way, if you're an instructor and you're entering, you give an ops workshop, for example, and you have 10, 15 people in the class, you would type in one by one their member numbers, and eventually, and you click them one by one here and add them one by one right there and change their position. Okay. So you can populate a huge class list, based right from here. These examples are just using one, but to let you know, you can do many more. There we go. We've got the member populated as crew member and position lead, and we're going to update activity members. Save was successful. Okay. What's left? What do we need to do next? You guys should know this now. You're going to edit review status to approval requested. And we're going to click save. Again, unless this final step is done, the review status will not change from open. It'll stay in open, and you will never get credit for your time. Okay. Now, any questions on that from the moderators? Okay. Bill Schultz, can you unmute, please?
There we go.
Is anyone?
I should be unmuted now, am I?
You are, Bill. Welcome.
Good.
Everybody, I'm going to turn this over to Bill. You're going to still see my screen. He's going to kind of talk me through what he wants to see as if he was doing it. But Bill, again, is an expert on our CM program in general, and these are going to be great examples of some differences in mission codes for radio, different radio missions, and also different OPCONs. So over to Bill.
Thank you, Chris. Let's start by opening a new activity log, please. And it'll be for radio. No, sorry. Let's do a unit individual first.
Very good.
Okay. Now, what we're going to assume here is that the time that we're going to report is the time spent on a VHF net. So you can leave the unit to default, but the OPCON is going to be for the, in this case, it's also going to be for the defaults. So it will stay as the 11th Southern District. Then you'll go up to the operations code. The operations code is going to be 20 Bravo, 20 Bravo.
Okay.
Sorry, mission code is
right. Yeah, that's easily confused, operations code and mission code. So 20 Bravo, right?
Correct. And there will be basically no operations code for something like this. No activity code. Mission start time will be whatever pick a date, any date. Tuesday's a good one. And time would be 7 p.m. And 1 hour. Summary of activities. What you want to do is say VHF net or VHF administrative net or whatever the name of the net is, so that you can later go back and recognize what it is that you have to tie it to in terms of the actual activity. There's nothing else that you need to add here, so we can just go save. And then just as we did with all of the others, we'll go up and go to add member and select your ID and what will identify you, and add members. Come change the position from none to lead, and then update. Now it's exactly the way it was before. We have to go back to the details screen, change the review status from open to approval requested, and then save it. And that's all there is to it. By and large, it is true that for almost everything, if you are operating in a VHF spectrum in communications, the mission code will be 20 Bravo, and the OPCON will be the district. And so you don't have to worry about that. So now let's do another one. This will be a different one. This will be one we're still going to do unit individual, but now we're going to be talking about participating in a high frequency net. The unit stays the same, but the OPCON changes. Now, in order to change it, you type in COMM, and you pick the first one, Coast Guard Communications Command, otherwise known as COMCOM. The reason for this, if anybody wants to know the reason behind it, is that for the HF activity in the Coast Guard Auxiliary, the chain of command is from the headquarters to the Coast Guard Communications Command to a member at the national level, Division Vice Chief for Division Chief for telecommunications, down to probably a branch chief, and then to people like myself who are in a position that's referred to as an HF net manager. So that's why all the orders, even though they are not individually issued, the orders come from Coast Guard Communications Command, and that's why the OPCON is that. So now it becomes essentially the same. Mission code in this case is likely to be Coast Guard operations support. So 07 Delta is the usual one, not always, but the usual one. An activity code in a general case, that doesn't change. And now you just put in the time and date, date and time, let's put it that way. And then everything else works exactly the same way as it did in the other. You save it, then go add the member. And we save it. Now we just go change the review status, and we're done.
Perfect.
Okay, now one more, because there's a strange situation which probably will be changed, but for the time being, we need to show you how to do it when you are associating the mission or the activity with a facility rather than just a member. So you come down here and select radio, and I try and keep my hand off my mouse. I keep trying to do that. Doesn't help here. Okay, you'll notice here, there is no opportunity to put in an OPCON. You leave the unit the same, but now you want to identify the facility involved. So just pick whichever one you want, doesn't matter which one it is.
I'm going to try and pick a radio one.
Oh yeah, sorry. I wasn't paying any attention to the, yeah, that'll work. Yep.
Okay.
And now you do the mission code. Again, it's probably going to be Coast Guard support, so 07 Delta. And the time and date. Now here, when you do the activity, you identify what the activity is, but more importantly, you need to identify here that this was an HF activity. So therefore, you need to perhaps put in the facility ID. In the HF world, for us, we use a code that is the, let's see, November Mike 114 Zulu Zulu. Is that what it was, Chris?
I believe so.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, and then the same last steps.
Yeah, the same last steps.
Yep, same last steps. The answer. You want me to answer that? The chat.
I'm not monitoring the chat completely. Okay. If you see one that you want to answer, go for it. The other thing, just for everyone on the call's edification, just tell them when you would request orders for a radio mission through AUXDATA 2 or through the old AOM. When would you request orders and receive approval from the OIA versus just a regular member activity?
Essentially, the difference is whenever you would have to actually move, whether you're actually moving a facility or whether you're just personally moving in order to carry out the activity, then you require orders. If not, if you're using your station at home, for example, and you don't have to move anywhere, for that you do not necessarily require orders. There are some situations that are unique to the radio world where there will be orders issued for things, even if you're actually not moving. But as a general rule, you'll know about that when the mission comes up. So the simple answer to the question is, if you physically have to move, you need orders. If you don't have to move, you don't need orders.
Okay, very good. Now I've scanned some of the chat questions, and one from Bill Calderwood came up last week as well. How about shares? How do we mission code the shares missions?
07 Delta.
Roger that. Now I see another one of I usually associate 20 Bravo and 07 with my radio facility, and that is kind of Bill's just talked about it. We've been seeing it both ways, and I'm not 100% convinced that there's either a right or a wrong, but you can see the difference. If you go in with a new activity and you select radio instead of unit individual, you can't put OPCON in. So that's a disadvantage, especially if you want to for an HF mission. But you do associate it directly with your facility. Okay, other than that, it's essentially the same. Bill and I talked about this the other day, and with unit individual, if you also want to associate it with your facility, at least informally, you could use the summary of activities or remarks to put in your facility ID there. Bill, if you have anything different on that, jump in.
Nope, that's fine. That's exactly right. That's what we agreed with.
Okay. All right. Moderators, do you have any questions? I didn't scroll the whole chat. Any others that we should tackle now? And if not, we're going to go into, I was going to show you a little bit of how the IS officers approve, how they look at and approve activity logs. And then we're going to probably be time for a break. Okay. All right,
Hey,
so
hey, Chris, sorry, I was late getting off mute. We did have one request to demonstrate for ITs entering details for a training session, right? Being able to enter trainees and task capture. So I'm not sure if that was on the agenda.
I can do that quickly. Yeah, it's actually a good question. You'll start a new activity. You'll be unit individual. You're going to go next. Default for unit and for OpCon. The mission code depends on what you're instructing. 06A would be for like operations workshop, okay, or the TCTs. And 06B is going to be for non-operational training. This is for the instructor. This is actually, I'm really glad this question came up because this is a change from the way we have done things for a long time. And the change was mandated or yeah, basically mandated from national, that we're trying to get everyone to do it correctly. When you're in IT, you're going to use and you instruct a course, okay? It's going to be 06A or 06B if you're teaching other auxiliary members. If it's a PE course, of course, you're going to use one of the 14 codes for whatever course you're teaching the public. We used to put, even on like a TCT, we put all the trainees as 06 alpha, and the 4 hours they get credit under 06 alpha time. That is technically incorrect because 06 alpha is only supposed to be used for instructors, qualified instructors, okay? So the way National has us doing it now is you're basically going to have to make 2 activity logs if you're an instructor. One is going to be for yourself and other co-instructors using either 06A or 06B, okay, when you're teaching other auxiliarists. Then you're going to go in and make another activity log. And I recommend you do this rather than just throwing it off on the class and say, do your own 99 deltas. But basically, everyone else is going to go in to AUXDATA for whatever you taught them based on a 7029/99 delta for training and the 4 hours or whatever the class was. And they're not trainees. Any 99 code of any kind, you're going in as a lead, okay? So I hope that's clear as mud. That is a change. So instructors, again, you're going to make 2 activity log entries, one for the instructors with the appropriate code, and then a 99 delta for not trainees, but attendees, and they're all going to be lead. And if you do it all for them, especially if it's a class like 10, 15 people, that way everyone's going to get, their time's going to be entered. When you leave it up to the class, we found, less than half are actually going to do it. So I hope that answers whoever asked that question.
Chris, actually, I have a question about that. So if we do it that way, how do the trainees get credit for that course? Because before in the 06A, we would do task capture, right, to associate the course with the trainees.
Yes, and this is actually a policy thing that we're working out as far as, let me go to an activity log, just any activity log will work, okay? What Tyler is talking about is this is not something that I'm going to cover today. There's a good reason for that. First, it's more granular than most regular members need to know. And also, we don't want regular members adding tasks and going to member and task capture. That is how ADSOs and DIROCs volunteers are going to assign a task to a member. So the way we've done it for a long time is we've had even FSOs enter an ops workshop, for example, and find the task. This is in the old system. You enter the activity, and you basically attach the ops workshop to that activity, and then everyone is going to get credit when the activity is approved for that. AUXDATA 2, it works a little differently, and it's a little quirky. And because every task is available, and I'm going to show you the list. Click New. And you go to any of these categories, there are just about anything that you can think of in the auxiliary, even like give yourself NAVRO's exam 70. Needless to say, we don't want regular members or even FSO, even SOIS is doing this right now. The way the policy works in D11 South is you're gonna make the basic time entry, and then you're gonna, for example, if it's an AUX-CT core training, or if it's TCT or whatever, it's going to be passed on up to the DIROC's office, and then it'll be farmed out to either DSO or ADSO to attach and add the task to the record so that everybody gets credit. Tyler, does that answer your question? And
It does, thank you. So for an IT, right, if as an instructor, I hold a course with attendees, so I create a 06A for my own time and co-instructors. I create 99Ds for all attendees, all trainees, and then I have to notify DIROCS that this course has happened with the list of trainees so that then they get credit for the course. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay.
That is correct. Now this could be something that will flex down the road, especially for some of the things like what we used to do, the ops workshop and stuff. But then certain things will always be under the DIROCS purview, things like core training, things like TCT, where not only does the course have to be credited to the member, but a certification is going to follow, and only DIROCS can do the certifications. So that's why we limit it. Okay, let's take a look at a couple of activity logs quickly. We'll just take a minute or two, and then we'll have a 10-minute break. And here's a bunch of approval requested. The IS officers all have their custom lists. They're not going to use recently viewed. They're going to have a custom list for their specific either flotilla or division. And any IS officers on the call, if you don't have that set up, you get a hold of your SOIS or myself after, and we'll make sure that you do. But I'm pretty confident we all do, all right? Rather than relying on emails coming in, we can go to our custom list and see all the activity logs that are basically waiting for us to approve, okay? So I'll just pick one. Let's go to the 91 Delta, the UPV mission that we just did. So again, IS officer is going to select the activity, and he's going to do the same check that you as a member did. You're going to check that the unit makes sense, that the OPCON makes sense. In this case, 91 Delta is a sector. It's not default, so that's good. You're going to check that the mission matches the summary of activities, and if it's a mission that requires additional information, that's in there too, and that there's no typos. Okay, we're not the time police, so we're not going to, hey, if the guy put, let's say, 3.5 hours instead of 1.5, you're not going to get pushback on that. I mean, unless it's 30.5 and possibly a typo. Same thing with number of exams. If someone puts 1 or 2, whatever it is, and it makes sense, that's great. If they put 100, you're going to get a call, and it's just to clarify. Okay. You may get a call, or what the IS officer has the ability to do is go in here, review status, and change the review status to needs clarification. Then the member who submitted the time is going to get an email, and they're going to say, hey, such and such activity log needs clarification. You'll have to go into the activity log. The IS officer will fill out clarification comments here. That's what this big dialog box is for. And he or she will say whatever it was that they saw that they have a question on or that you need to correct. Okay. If they like it, and if everything looks good, then there's two processes, or 2 steps basically in the approval process, starting with an FSOIS. You see this FSOIS reviewed box here. Now, the account I'm in right now in Sandbox, I don't have the ability to edit this, but all our FSOISs should have it. So they will actually not be changing review status to approval, from approval requested to approved. They can try, but it won't work, or it shouldn't work, because only the SOISs who have actually also been to AUX 10, that's DSO and DIROCS office cannot grant what they call activity approver status, which is the highest IS level. It has to come from BSX, from national, and they're not going to approve it unless you've been to the actual AUX 10 class. At least that's the way it is now. So again, the FSOIS is going to review it. He's going to either go, he or she needs clarification, or he's going to leave it alone. Let me put it back to approval requested. And they're going to check the FSOIS reviewed box. Then the SOIS is going to, on their list, see, okay, there's an approval requested and it's been checked by the FSOIS, so it's my turn to check it. And you'd go back in and you do all the same things, including going to add member and making sure that the member's there and that the position matches what they did. You'd go back to details, click the drop down and you change it to approved and you click save. That's how it works. So to answer the earlier question, I think from John, all the activities that you enter yourself are in the system. If you see approval requested, they're on somebody's desk. Now, if it stays there for weeks and weeks, I'd give the guy a call and pimp him. But generally speaking, the SOISs will work through their own division, and you should see an approved here eventually, or a needs clarification. Any questions?
Yeah, yeah, Chris, Tom Payne asked, when we submit an activity and select approval requested, how is the IS officer notified to make the approval? Gets an email, correct?
Yeah, you get an email, and yes, the short answer is you'll get an email, which these are automatically filled in fields down on the bottom left of any activity log. And you can see it auto populates with whoever your FSOIS is and whoever your SOIS is. So those are the people that are going to get emails. That's one way that they know. The other way, the even more reliable way, is each IS officer has their custom list, and they should be checking frequently to see what's in there that needs their attention.
Glad you brought that up. Next question, regarding an IT that instructs a class. He fills out a 7039 and submits it to the FSOIS. My understanding is then the IS officer takes that 7039 and creates 2 entries. That sound right so far?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Nothing prevents the instructor from doing it themselves as well, but you're still going to have to notify IS and make sure whatever task is involved goes up and gets entered at a certain level.
Yeah, a lot of confusion on that issue. So
yeah. In general, guys, I mean, this system is still new and it's still evolving, and we're all kind of new to it, all of us. So when questions like that come up, instead of spending 2-3 hours trying to dig through, an old user guide or a video, use your IS team. That's what we're there for. Start with your FSOIS and the FSOIS. If they don't know, they're going to go to the SOIS, but use that chain to have your answer, to answer your questions, basically. Okay, let's take a, Commodore, do you have your little 10-minute timer handy? We'll take a 10-minute break and come back at about 10:05. 10:05. Thanks, everybody.
Have you got it, Chris?
Okay, everybody, welcome back. Hope you got your second or third cup of coffee. I know I did. The next session, we're going to go into basically uncharted territory. We have not been doing patrols, and there's been very little activity as far as offer for uses, facility management, facility inspections and stuff. The radio guys kind of got into it a little bit recently. And Bill Schultz is going to give another brief on the radio side, but what we're going to start with is a boat, an offer for use for a boat. And I'm going to try and go through in Sandbox the entire process from a member has a boat, they want to offer it for use, they'll fill out their 7003 form online now. Basically, you'll do it all through the system, at least as far as the interface with DIROX is concerned and the OTO. So we're gonna do an offer for use. We're gonna do a facility inspection. DIROX will hopefully approve it. The OTO will approve it, and then we'll have an actual facility operational. It will go from there to a patrol order request from the OIA. The OIA says you got it. You have an active patrol order, and then we're going to show how to complete. Fill out, submit, and complete a patrol order. In AOM, it used to be called filling out your itinerary. Now it's different, but we're going to go through all that. So that's going to be the meat of the next hour, basically. Before I dive into that, were there any questions that came up during the break that a moderator thinks we should address now? Okay, I don't hear anything. So, facilities. This is the new AOM, both facilities here, facility inspections. It's more than AOM, it's AOM and the whole facility management side, which is patrol orders, facility inspections, facilities. Okay, so these are all the things, again, we're going to talk about. We're going to start with facilities. You're going to have your list view just like any of the other tabs up here, but we're going to create a new one. This is how we start the process. First thing it asks you, what kind of facility is it? You can see all the options here. All of them are available online through AUXDATA 2. We're going to start with, we're going to do a boat today. So select boat, select next. Registration is going to be, in the case of a boat, you should know your registration, whether it's a U.S. Coast Guard documented vessel or a California or whatever state registration number. I'm going to do Delta Delta just for a test one. This is in the Sandbox. Facility name, how about Sandbox 1? Okay. What type? Now, any kind of boat that there is out there, you're going to be able to find what you are. Hopefully, let's just say we're a center console that we're going to offer for use. Unit name, your home unit is the one you want to use, in my case, Dana Point. Availability, these are all the same questions that would be on the 7003. You're still going to want to print out and have available your 7003 because two reasons. It's going to be used as a checklist for the inspector and the owner of the vessel as they go through the offer for use process. And it's also going to be scanned and copied in as one of the files that's submitted to the to DIROX/OTO for approval. Okay. What year was it? When start date is basically the start date that you're offering it for use. Okay. And then obviously end date would be if you withdrew that authorization for use. And then the rest of the equipment. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly because this is all kind of self-explanatory. City and state, whether it's trailered or not, manufacturer, and the model, okay. Power, let's say it's an outboard. I'm going to skip all the generators, bunks, heads, and stuff, and we'll just go with a basic length of 30 feet. A basic beam, let's just say 8 feet, and a draft, let's just say 3. Again, you'd obviously be filling this out for actual numbers. I don't think any of this is required at this point, so I'm going to try and skip it just for brevity, since this is a demonstration. Okay, all waters, I will fill that out. I'm going to put the location in because this can be semi confusing possibly. So the degrees of latitude, let's just say 33. Let's just say 35 for minutes, and then it's going to be north, obviously, 117. We'll use 30, and west, obviously. Okay, let's see if it takes that. We'll go save. Yes, it let us get this far. Now we have a facility that's new. Status is new, hasn't been accepted yet. And the unit name there, the type, the registration, and all the information that we filled out. And again, wherever in AUXDATA 2 you see a pencil icon, it should enable you to edit it. So you can make changes. You don't have to necessarily do it all on that first page. We could add stuff along the way here, okay? But there is some things that we have to add to make this facility actually work and be able to be improved. One thing we have to add is who the owner is, right up front, okay? So over here on the right-hand side where you see facility ownership, you're gonna click new. It's not owned by a unit. In this case, it's a member. Next, and you're gonna go, that's the facility. Yes, this is a new facility number. There's AUX25, that's my sandbox guy, and ownership type. Okay, he's the sole owner. So go ahead and save it. Now the system knows who the owner is. It's going to allow you to submit patrol orders and stuff because it needs to know who's going to get paid and who's responsible. All right. The other thing that is required is an engine. If you're going to submit for SAMA, which is basically your maintenance cost, it's all based on some engine data. So that is a required field. And I'm just going to make something up here really quick. And horsepower, let's say it's a big one, 400. All right, and year. Okay. So now we have an engine or multiple engines. You would make a new entry for each engine that you have. If you have 2 engines, 2 entries. Facility ownership, and you would also add other owners here if appropriate for the facility that you're offering for use. We're ready to request an inspection now. Bill's going to go through again on the radio side for facility inspections. The process is basically the same. From this page, we can go to facility inspections new. Okay. We're going to select the record type, in this case, boat. Next. All right. Now, red asterisk means required field. As you could guess, requested inspection date. We're gonna be really optimistic and request it today, okay? Because I want to follow this example through. So we're requesting an inspection today, and we could do that because the inspector is me. Obviously, you wouldn't be actually inspecting your own vessel. I think I saw a question in chat even before the session started about who can inspect OPFACs. Generally, in the old system, at least policy-wise, in District 11 was any vessel examiner. The OTO, though, the current OTO established a policy pre-COVID where you need a QE. You need both a qualified vessel examiner and a QE for an OPFAC inspection. I believe that has been waived while we're in COVID because obviously getting more people on a vessel, it would be contrary to policy, COVID policy. But don't quote me on that. Generally speaking, though, once we're back to normal, the policy from our OTO is that you need a vessel examiner and a QE. He has said that he wants all QEs to also be vessel examiners, so it's not necessarily going to have to be 2 people. But what do you have to know for your offer for use? Just that you put a qualified person in here, probably going to be a QE who's also a vessel examiner if it's up someplace down the road. Inspection date, you don't know yet for sure, so that stays blank. DIROCs, you're going to put Robert F. DeVoy in the real world. I believe Leslie B. Pelosi works too. They're both kind of the DIROCs account people, even though it's the OTO that's actually going to be accepting an offer for use. The way it's set up in AUXDATA 2 in production, in the actual version, Robert F. DuBois. But to make this work today, I have a Dirox Sandbox account, which is me. So I'm both offering for use, I'm inspecting, and I'm going to approve it too. A wonderful Sandbox world. Okay, so we save that. Now we have a facility inspection number, 22686. To move the process along, we're going to go click on, this is a hyperlink for this facility inspection. Click on it, and now the facility inspection page comes up, and you can see the information we filled out. It's the facility, when we want it, who's going to do it, and we're going to edit this to the actual date. Okay, the inspection date is today. The guy's like on it, and we're going to save that. Now we have this option up here in the upper right, submit for approval. I realize that there are a lot of steps here, and you can take notes, and you're probably going to get lost. So again, this is going to be something, especially initially, you're probably going to want to get an IS officer on the phone to walk you through it the first time. I'm betting. Anyway, this is the next step, submit for approval. And what you're doing basically is submitting the inspection for approval. Now, files here, upload files, all the same documentation that would be required if it was a fully, just a paper inspection and a paper submission. So you're going to also submit a copy of the DMV registration or the Coast Guard documentation certificate if applicable. Pictures, our district likes to see pictures, front, both sides and rear if possible for the facilities. All of this stuff, it's much easier now with AUXDATA 2 to upload the files. You can just drop them right in there, and it all goes in as part of the package. But the owner is going to submit for approval, and submit. You can put whatever you want or no comments, but I'm just going to put in submit approval request. Okay, and now you can see we have an actual approval history started. One, it was submitted and it's pending. And who's it assigned to? AUX25 user. That can be confusing because of this demonstration where AUX25 is both the submitting member and also the vessel examiner who it's pending for, okay? Try and bear in mind that these will be two different people in the real world. And what we're demonstrating right now is what the vessel examiner will see, and he or she will see an approve button. And that's not approving the facility for use. What it is doing is approving the inspection. The inspection is complete to the satisfaction of the inspector. Okay, so I'm going to click approve. Approve facility. Okay. Now the facility inspection approval is pending, and the status has changed. If we're going to go back to this inspection record 22686, you can see the status has changed to Dirox review. And over here in approval history, you can see Dirox pending, and it would say Robert F. DuBois there, assigned to. I do have that Dirox account. I'm not going to take the time to go in and actually approve this facility, but that is all that would happen at this point. Is now it's out of your hands, the owner and the inspector. It's out of your hands. When it says status Dirox review, that means it's on the OTO's desk. The OTO from his account is going to go in and look at everything. If he likes it, if it's a thumbs up, he's going to edit the status to approved, and you'll get notification, and you will have an actual facility call sign, alpha number assigned, etc. Okay, so that's it as far as an offer for use and vessel OPFAC inspection process. I'm gonna stop right here, see if there's any questions or confusion really quickly before we go into what I'll do is use a facility that's already been approved to press forward with the rest of the demonstration. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go in, click more. I'm going to click, actually, we'll go here to facilities. And these are all the facilities that I've recently viewed. Some of them are for AUX 25, some of them are for other people. But basically, like I said, we're going to assume that we already have an approved vessel, OPFAC, and I'll probably use this one here, 4567XX. But how do we make a request to the OIA? So now we're simulating what used to be AOM. You're going to go more, and you're going to go requests. Okay. These are requests in the list that I've created. That could be for you, could be for somebody else. You don't care. What you want to do when you're making a new request, basically to the OIA, is you're going to click new. Okay, you click new. I'm not. It wouldn't have been my choice to put new requests and have both patrol requests and service requests in the same area, but that's the way they did it, and that's what it is. So don't get confused. Patrol request is what you want when you're making a patrol request. Service request is another word for a help ticket. All right, through the system. All right, so patrol request is what we want. We're going to click next, and here we go. All right, so let's use my 23489XX, which is an approved facility. All right, so you select your actual facility, and this can be a little bit confusing too. It's not going to come up here and say whatever your boat name is. It's going to have this facility number. Let me go back to the X though. You can see the registrations are there. So you'll be able to figure out which one is the one you want if you see a bunch of them. You may only see yours anyway. All right. Facility owner. Owner is operator in this case. Operator is AUX 25. Facility owner is also AUX 25. Patrol date. We want to do one today. We don't have the 2-week rule in the sandbox world. We can request one right now. Okay, so we're going to do midday. Facility type is a boat. Patrol type, let's say we're going to do a mom patrol with some training mixed in. Okay, status is new. Reimburse. This is a sandboxism. I've got to click no reimbursement, even though I'd rather get reimbursed. The reason for that is there is a validation built into even Sandbox where if the owner doesn't have a EFT, electronic funds transfer, filed with FinCEN, it's going to kick it back. So no reimbursement, we found out works. I put DP area. And then in description, what the OIA is like is some kind of, just like we did in AOM, some kind of a description of the patrol you're going to do. So I'm going to put Dana Point, mom of AOR, or area of responsibility, and training. And then sometimes they like to see fuel, so max fuel, let's just say $30. Okay. Then you click save. Now we have a patrol request that has been sent to the OIA 26563. Okay. And we have a OIA in Boston that is hopefully looking at this and going to approve it. So we're going to see requests. Okay. Okay. I don't see the one that I just requested approval from. That doesn't matter because I can use any of these to demonstrate what the process is once we do have a patrol order. Okay. You will not see a patrol order, a PO number, until the OIA actually has approved it. These are the different statuses. Completed means you've not only completed the actual patrol, but you've completed the submitting the patrol order through the OIA to Finance Center. So let's just take this maritime one here for 12:15, and I'm going to select this patrol order for demo purposes. This should work. This should work. Okay, so what are we looking at here? We're looking at the patrol order that we requested to the OIA and was approved. And we can see the facility number. We can see crew requirement met with an X. There is a validation built in here, which balances the facility minimum crew with who you have populated as crew. Automatically, the lead is populated in this case, AUX 25. The rest aren't yet, so we're going to see that X until we do that. We're on details, and we're going to just run down the left and right side to make sure it's all the way we want it. And so far it is. So far it is. All looks good. Approved. If you canceled it, if for some reason you didn't go on the patrol, an approved patrol, they do want you to cancel it. You would do that here. Okay. You'd change the status to canceled, and you would put a cancellation reason in. What we're simulating here is that we actually did this patrol, because there's quite a few steps to completing a patrol and submitting it. All right. Again, there's the patrol type, the date, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And we're going to go right over here to the right side. First thing we're going to do is add our crew. All right. The lead's in there, the coxswain's in there. We're going to click new. And what you do is just start typing a member's name. So, and actually we have real patrol orders approved for the 17th. And this gentleman is one of the crew members. Date applied is for somebody that applies for crew. We don't have to fill that out now, or date decided. They're not active duty. And this is also where, for those of you coxswain and owners that were used to the old AOM, this is where we fill out based on the times, whether we provide lunch or whatever for the crew. Okay, so I'm going to leave that blank now. I'm just pointing out that this is where you'd select it to be reimbursed for that. Angelo is going to be a non-lead. He's qualified, and we're going to save that. Now we have two. Notice the red X is still there. We have not met our min crew yet. We're going to add another crew member. And there's Steve Fiorillo. Again, we don't have to put in date applied or decided. We're going to put his position as non-lead. He is certified, qualified. No meals right now. We're going to click save. And as you can see, crew requirement is now met. With that green check mark, you're going to be able to, when the time is right, submit this to the OIA. But what used to be called itinerary in AOM is now activities. This is going to look familiar because it uses the same process as all of our activity logs, okay? Slightly different, and I'm going to demo that now. We're going to create a new activity to start the actual itinerary of the patrol. This will be done post-patrol. So you click new next to activities. It's going to be boat this time because you're under orders and you're on a boat. So you're going to select boat. You're going to select next. All right. Facilities. There it is. 6, 7, 8, 9. Waters, navigable. Review status, we're going to change later. Mission code, start all marine patrols with 01 Delta. That's a requirement. OIA is supposed to kick it back if you don't do that. Basically what it means is that's your pre-underway brief time, okay? We did it today, we're doing it today. Let's say at noon. And let's say we did a 30-minute pre-underway brief, which would be 0.5 actually. Okay. Click save. Here's the validation. Please make sure mission start time is equal to the patrol date or within 1 day. So cancel out of that. This is the 15th. It because I trying to do activities for a patrol that the date is in the future, it may not let me do this. Okay, so bear with me while I demonstrate though. Again, what you do here is fill in the facility. It's going to default the unit. You're going to select the waters. Okay, we're going to put the mission code 01 Delta in this case. Then when we're going to save that activity and we're going to populate that field with the crew. In production, clone will work eventually, so you'll be able to save time there. The second, in this case, mission code is going to be Maritime Observation. And again, we're going to fill out the mission start time, the duration, and a summary of activities. What you'll do in sequence, hopefully this makes sense, and I apologize that the demo is not perfect, but you'll be entering these new activities boat right from this patrol order screen for each separate mission code for that particular patrol. Remember, you need to start with a 01 Delta, a pre-underway brief. You'll have your mission time, whether it be 01A or 22 for training or whatever it is, regatta patrol, whatever it is. If you have a break, you'll put more 01D time, just like we used to do in AOM. And the coxswains and the owners will be familiar with that, and they'll pick this up quickly. And you'll have to populate the crew for each of those missions. Once you're done, you'll click save. Okay, and you would have a list of activities here. Then, again, post patrol, if you, let's say you filled up your gas tank, you're going to have a receipt. This is where the receipt, upload files. That's probably the only document that you're going to throw in here. Although you could throw other things in here if you so choose. Like maybe if there was a SAR mission and you had some SAR paperwork, you could throw it in here to attach it to the patrol order. Or you may want to put your pre-underway GAR sheet in here. That's optional stuff. The one you're definitely going to want to put in here is your fuel receipt. Okay. And then you would also fill out, I'm not going to take the time to do it because it's pretty self-explanatory, but you're going to put in, just like we did in old AOM, your gallons of fuel and your engine hours. In fact, this is a validation. If you don't put in this, it will not accept a fuel expense. Okay. Gallons of fuel, engine hours, and then you put your fuel expenses and any additional expenses. Okay. And then you would save it. Final step would be to change the status from approved to completed. I missed one step. Let me go back down here. Just like AOM, you have to sign. You have to signature of operator, okay, and signature of claimant. And luckily, we don't have to put our passwords in. You just click on the actual user and put a check mark there, and it's going to take it both for operator and for claimant. Then now you're finally ready to actually change it from approved to completed, and it'll go to the OIA. The other option here, submitted, that's what it'll change to when the OIA looks at it and submits it to the Finance Center. Okay. I'm going to pause there. There are probably some questions, and the moderators feel free to jump in if there are. We're going to go through this process. Actually, Bill Schultz is going to go through the process using my screen. So you're going to get to see this again. You're going to get to see the offer for use again. You're going to get to see the facility inspection process again. You're going to get to see a patrol order request and a patrol again. So, and we'll try and pick a patrol date that was behind us, not ahead of us.
Okay, Chris, we've got something that might take a little bit more typing, so I'll let you answer this. An AV going out on an 8-ton patrol, the question is, does he enter his 8-ton activity using, checking, accessing the patrol orders, which is not correct. The AV would, of course, do the paperwork and enter those himself, or send it to the DSO NS. Maybe you can clarify that a little. If you look at the chat, you'll see that.
Yeah, okay, yeah, no, you're right. It would not be the specific ATON mission codes, the 30, 31s, whatever they are would not be entered here directly on the patrol order. Whoever the ATON verifiers are, assuming this is an OPFAC patrol out on the water, then they would be listed as part of the crew, whether they're non-lead, if they're qualified, or trainees otherwise, and they're going to get credit for the time that the patrol is underway. For the standby time and the actual underway time. The ATON specific mission code stuff, they're going to have to enter like they've always done on their own separately.
Okay, so an AV on an OPFAC on the water is considered crew.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and that's the way it was in Legacy AOM as well. Nothing's changed as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, been confusion on that.
Right. Okay, any other questions? And if not, I'm going to have Bill unmute and
Yeah, Chris.
jump in. Yeah,
Chris?
go ahead.
Hey, Norm Bundick. I had a radio facility. My car was a radio facility. And it was offered, if I can actually do orders like an OPFAC. And yet that doesn't show up in my record. Any questions on that? Because we have a lot of people that go on radio patrols with our vehicles.
I'll ask Bill if he knows the answer to that, and I don't off the top of my head, so we can research it and I'll get back to you offline, Norm.
Great, thank you.
Hey, Norm.
Yeah.
So I think we had actually, that's a good question. There's a few other questions on the chat with folks not being able to find their facilities in the list. So I was able to locate a couple, and I think I actually see one for you listed. I think what's happening is if you go under the facilities menu, right, the default view is recently viewed. So if you haven't looked at a record before, then that list is empty. It came up empty for me because I wasn't looking at facilities. And if you just do the search box from there, it only searches what's already viewable. So it's always going to come up empty. So what you have to do is go to all operational facilities, right? That shows everything. And even in there, as I put stuff in the search box, nothing came up as I put in folks' owners' last names. So I don't think that search function worked real well. But what did work was if there's a column for owner and I just sorted it by owner last name and scrolled down to the person, and then there I found the record. So
okay, well, I show as a radio facility, but not my vehicle. Is it showing a vehicle?
Let me jump in here, and Norm and Tyler. Those are all great points and great questions. And Tyler's exactly right. You can have like this list I see even in Sandbox. I've got a D11S facilities list. What I have found in general through the whole system is this sub search here. Search this list is really hard to use and not very functional. Global search works better. But having said that, the best way to find your own facility is go to your own member page. Okay, you go to your own member page, and I'll use myself as an example. Okay, and then you go to related, and this is where you'll see at a glance, without having to mess with any lists, any facility that is credited to you for ownership.
Right, that's why I'm saying I've been in there, and it only shows my radio. It does not show my vehicle. Then
it's probably not in the system either because it didn't migrate correctly from legacy to current or not. We'll get together with you, Norm, offline and see what happened to it.
Thank you.
You bet. Okay. All right, Bill.
Sure, I'm here.
Very good.
If you can go back to the facilities page, there we go. What we're going to do is we're going to do two kinds of facilities. Well, actually, three kinds of facilities, but one group is a subset. These are going to be for radio facilities. They're divided into two big chunks: those which are high frequency and those which are very high frequency, those two kinds. Secondly, they are divided into categories that are either land, fixed land is the real phrase, land, or mobile. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to do something really simple, and that is a VHF facility that's in your house. So if you click new, thank you, and then radio. Since this is a brand new facility, we do not know the registration number yet. That's a registration number that will be assigned by DIROX when it's approved. The same thing is true of facility name. We don't know yet. Search units, typically that's going to be your default. Since it's new, its last reinspection date and the inspection expiration date don't apply. The location is exactly the same as it was for both. So latitude degrees, minutes degrees, and north. Latitude and longitude in degrees and minutes and west. And we can now, location is not, well, yeah, okay, let's come down to the bottom here. We'll do this part first. This is where you actually put in the type of facility it's going to be. So it's going to be a land facility. And now we have the ability to put in we have the requirement to put in the actual equipment type. So if we come down to VHF FM and put a check mark in that box, and then let's just take as an example, ICOM, and the model number is F5021. And the VHF output and FM output is 50. The owner is AUX25, of course, and if we can go all the way back up to the top on the right-hand side. Location does not apply at this point. It will at some point, but now it doesn't. And availability, we'll check, will be the type. Let me answer that question about mobile and transportable in just a moment. So availability would be all times. There's emergency power available. Since this is a VHF only, HF international call sign does not apply, and the VHF auxiliary radio call sign, you don't know yet, again, because this is a new facility. And you can go ahead and save that if you would, Chris. And then the question between mobile and transportable. First of all, transportable as a category is not the same level as either fixed or mobile. Transportable as a category is a subcategory of fixed, and that will be assigned by and decided by the OTO when it's submitted. So the basic difference between land and mobile is mobile means you can actually use the radio facility while it is in motion. Land obviously is land, it's fixed, it doesn't move, okay? Okay, so that answers that question. So now, as we had to do before, the first thing we need to do is add the ownership. So we'll go to facility ownership new, it'll be a member, and it'll be AUX25. Okay, and it's the owner, correct. All right, so now that part is done. Now the trick will be, what we need to do is have it inspected or schedule an inspection for it. And just as we did with boats, we open a new facility inspection record. It's radio. The requested inspection date, again, is exactly the way it was before. We'll do that today. The facility inspector will make that. HF radio approvers will come to later when we look at an HF radio. We'll leave that empty for now. And the same thing would be true here. It normally will be Rob Devoy, but now for our purposes here, it'll be Chris. So now we are ready to save it. Okay, so now we've created that record. So now the issue is going to be the actual inspection needs to take place. We probably don't want to go into the details at this point, but suffice to say, there is an approved, agreed upon process for doing, quote, virtual, unquote, inspections of radio facilities. When I say approved, it's been approved by the OTO, and that approval was passed along to the bridge. This back in September. So that's there. Whether or not it has been appropriately pushed down to the deck plate, I don't know. But in any case, it will be in the near future. If you have not already received it, you will. There's like a 3-page document, 4-page document. And in that document are 2 forms, one of which will be the 7004 form, one of which is the second one. But let's talk about the 7004 first. Just as was the case that Chris described, when you do a new facility, you fill out the 7004 form. 2 reasons for that. One is the checklist. The second is that the OTO has required that for radio facilities, certain signatures are going to be required. A signature not only of the owner, of course, but also of the SOCM and the DSOCM. Interestingly enough, the 7004 form does not require a signature from the inspector. It requires some information from the inspector, but not a signature. So 3 signatures are going to be required on that. Once those signatures are there, then you'll be ready to upload that as one of the 2 files. Again, without going into the details, there is a second form which essentially describes the process of testing the facility in a remote or virtual way. And that has the requirement to put down and the information to document the fact that those tests were successfully required. Once those are completed, then they get uploaded to the associated with the facility record. And now you can go to the submit for approval. And this will be let's say submit inspection approval, and save or submit. Okay. So as it was exactly the same before, right now it has been it's been approved, it's been submitted. Now the actual inspection needs to be approved. And as to say, it says under inspection. So the next and last step for the inspector is to actually approve that inspection. So the inspector would click there, approve the inspection itself. Okay, we missed one. We didn't put an inspection date in, so that'll be done. And there we are. Now, when you go back and look at the facility inspection record, you'll see that it has been, the inspection itself has been submitted, has been approved, and has now been submitted to DIROX for review and ultimately for approval.
Right.
So
exactly. Sorry, Bill. I was just going to say, and as far as the demonstration is concerned with this particular new facility, we're not going to take it any further than this. But it just like with the boat, what would happen is when we submit it or approve it, it's going to go to the under DIROX review. It's going to be on the OTO's desk, and he will either approve or deny it, and you'll get a notification back.
That's right. And that notification, by the way, comes back to the owner and to the inspector. It's been my experience because I've done a few of these, and it comes back to me as the inspector as well as going to the owner itself. Okay, let's go quickly to a second facility. This will be it'll be another new facility and radio. The only difference here, again, no registration, that's not known. The latitude, the location is the same as it was before. And this time we're going to make it the type is going to be mobile. And it's going to be a high frequency, medium frequency facility. So check that box. Now you put in the name of the radio. So radio 100 watts, doesn't matter what you put in there. It can be anything at all or nothing. The answer to the question from Tom Payne, yes, they are. The latitude and longitude will be the location where the vehicle is normally kept. The only one we have to do is the HF one there. Again, down here, the ICOM 710, and everything else is the same. We'll come back up here. Again, the location can be Dana Point or yeah. You can grab that location actually. That's the one that's associated with AUX 25, of course. Availability all or weekends or weeknights, whatever. No call sign yet because it's new. Since it's mobile, emergency power does not apply, but it's there anyway. And since it's new, no facilities, call signs yet for it. Now, if we come down a little bit further, oh, no, it won't show up yet. Okay, so now we can go ahead and save it. And let me see if I keep reaching for the mouse, doesn't help any. And so now we'll do the same inspection. There's the only difference here is that because it's an HF radio, that means it has to be approved at national as well as being approved otherwise. But the first thing we need to do is to identify the ownership. And it's a member as well. And just pick one and it's full owner and that's it. Okay, so now we go back to the facility inspections and do it exactly the same way as we did before. The only difference is that you will see two more approval names, and they're right here where it says HF radio approvers. This will happen automatically. These will be populated automatically. They're not yet. But they will be once we're finished with all this. And to answer from Norm, yes, if it moves, it has to have orders. Simple answer. I'll defer to that one later. I don't want to tackle that one since it's not entirely there. Okay, so you would, if you go up to BCRTI, Chris, and just put in start WELL. It's Donald Wellens, that one. Okay. And go over to DVCRT, Elliott, ELLIOT. Or yeah, David is with that works. We did this yesterday, so that's how it is. And so now you can save that.
Okay.
What did we miss? Oh, okay. Huh, interesting.
Yeah, and this could very easily be a sandbox thing, whereas in production it should work as advertised. So
yeah, it probably is.
I think
the other thing I was going to say was that, as Chris said earlier, talking about boats, one of the really important things here is going to be working with your SOCM, because since all this process is really new to most people, we're going to have to work pretty closely, especially with new facilities. But we'll do that, and that's something that you'll be hearing from the new DSOCM. And his ADSOs will come out in the near future. Those haven't been announced yet, but they will be, I'm sure, within the next couple of weeks.
Right.
Lastly, and then I think we can move on unless you want to cover something else, Chris. The difference between a new facility and a renewal is what you obviously have to do is to put in the other information about, for example, the last expiration date, the last inspection date, that kind of thing, last re-inspection and the like. We have one that's, yeah, that'll work. Okay. So this was approved. And therefore, it can just be a re-inspection. When you look at these, if nothing has changed, you don't have to do anything with it. However, in this particular case, we have no facility ownership recorded, so that's going to have to be added.
And this, of course, was a test entry that we were getting ready for this. And so there's a lot of information here that in an actual facility before it would be approved would be, for example, the location information, more about the radio, all the stuff we filled out on the other records when we showed you would be already here. But what Bill's pointing out is the last reinspection date will be populated for an approved status operational facility, and when the inspection date is due. And then so you don't start the process all over for an OFU, obviously. What you're just simply going to do is request a new inspection for a re-inspection. Right, Bill?
That's correct. That's all you really have to do is the re-inspection and document it.
Okay.
I think that's it, Chris, isn't it?
Yeah, no, that's thank you very much. That's great info for the radio, and hopefully you all saw a little bit of repetition between the boat facilities, both offer for use and inspection process and patrol orders, and it'd be the exact same process here for the radios. Let me go into, let's see, patrol orders, and I wanted to show you approved. Here's a patrol order that has happened already. It's in the past. And because it's a radio, obviously a requirement is just one, and the crew is populated already. So if we took the time to go through this and we wanted to actually change it from approved to completed, then we would fill out all the activities here for the radio itinerary. We would upload any files that are required for that particular patrol, and again, any usage expenses, etc. And finally, we'd sign it as operator and sign it as claimant. And then to send it to the OIA, we would change the status from approved to completed. So that's the process. New to everybody. And yeah, that's it. So other moderators, any other questions?
Yeah, Chris, I got a question that's been asked. In order to enter as a new activity, as a radio patrol, as a radio activity, are patrol orders required?
No, they should, although what Bill described was you should only use the radio option, whether you're entering it from a patrol order like I just did here, or from the regular activity logs new, should be associated with an order, with a patrol order. Otherwise, you're going to be entering it as a unit individual. Now, I understand there's some confusion there because some people want to tie their facility to the activity, even if it's for a VHF net. Some of this we will discuss offline after the presentation. And if there's clarifying information to get out, we'll do that. But the general answer is you're only going to use aircraft, boat, or radio options for a new activity record type if you have orders in the system from the OIA. You're going to use unit individual otherwise.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, everybody. Going once, twice, three times for any more questions before we take another break? We'll take another 10-minute break. And then we are fortunate enough to have Laurel. And you don't want to miss this one, because if there is any mystery, well, there's a lot of mysteries in AUXDATA too, but this particular reports module or object can be and has been pretty confusing. Okay, it's getting better. Laurel will talk about this, but it's getting better all the time. The improvement over the last 5-6 months has been huge, and new reports and new templates are going in all the time. But when we come back from the break, Laurel's going to make us all experts in reports. Okay. Commodore, 10 minutes, please. Thank you, sir.
Hello?
Hi, Laurel.
Hi.
Hi, Laurel.
I was just trying to make sure my microphone was working.
Loud and clear.
Excellent, because I was tried to catch you earlier. By the way, I did approve that mission, but you forgot to do the location.
Ah, that's why.
So by the time I went in and put the location in, you'd moved on.
That's okay.
All our
Yeah.
planning, all our
I
planning.
know. It just wouldn't be real if there weren't a few hiccups.
Oh God, yes.
And everybody on the call, I can't tell you how fortunate we are to have Laurel with us. Again, national staff IS, very experienced IS, and a lead instructor in AUX 10, which for those that don't know is the C School, the 4-day in-person C School for AUX 10, which I believe will be virtual going forward. But anyway,
Yeah, I can just let you know a little bit about what that's going on and before I start,
Definitely.
because if you've got people who are interested.
and hopefully we do.
Yeah, really, we do. We do want to develop more talent, expertise, bring in all you people into the world of IS because we love it. So the AUX 10 class, which has been a resident C school, anywhere from a 3 to a 4-day class, is being converted over to a virtual. And what it will be a course that you can take at your own, basically you sign up for a month. And over that course, that month, on your own time, when you have time, you'll go through a module a week of video. There'll be sessions, one-on-one, not one-on-one sessions, but group sessions like talks, hands-on instruction as well, a couple of, 3-4 hours worth of that during the week. It'll be repeated. And then at the end of the week, you're done and you move to the next session. It's a 4-module course. And we're hoping to offer it eventually 6 or 7 times a year with 20 students per class. At the moment, we're writing the script and doing the video work, and we're expecting the first classes to hopefully go live in July. So that would be the goal.
Thanks, Laurel. Hopefully we will have lots of people interested in that, and we'll be getting a lot more through per year with that format than the old resident class.
Right. Well, we really haven't had a class in a year.
Right.
I think we had one in January before COVID hit. And that was the last class we've been able to hold. And, frankly, the budget just isn't supporting that. It's about $100,000 every time we run one of those classes.
Wow. Okay.
It's very expensive.
Okay. Whenever you're ready, Laurel, if you want to share your screen, you can just jump in.
Yeah. Let me get the controls here. Share. Hang on just a second. I want to open up something else.
Sure.
I found this out that if I don't open Excel right off the bat, it won't work. I got too many screens open, Chris. Okay. You should start to be able to see my screen.
Perfect. It's perfect.
Awesome. Good afternoon, everybody, or it's afternoon for me. I guess it's still morning for you. This has been terrific. Chris has been doing an awesome job. I love the moderators. You guys have been watching the chat. It's been terrific. So I'm glad that so many members have taken advantage of this opportunity, because I'll tell you, across the country, we don't see this very often. Up in my district, even, we have not had the extent of training that you're getting in this weekend and last. So really appreciate it, and really appreciate Chris and the Commodore for pulling, and the ADSOs for pulling this all together and getting it out to you. So Chris may have overstated my role a little bit. I am on the national staff, but I am not by any manner of means the expert in reports right now because we're all learning the new system. I was the expert in the AUXInfo system. For those of you who knew it, I ran the AUXInfo help desk after Harry Shopey passed away. I've been working in this new system, and what I'm going to do today with you is really try to give you all the immediate gratification of being able to run a report, at least for yourself and your flotilla, and maybe they'll be somewhat simple, and then show you how to build something a little more complex, but recognize that even I'm still learning how to do the complexities of reporting. Remember last week, we talked about views. And a view, for example, if I go to my activity log screen, I have views that, maybe like this. And I can print this as a printable view. This happens to be all the activity logs that have been submitted through my division. But a report gives you, and last week we talked about how to create your own view and how to make your own view, sort of customizing it. Reports work very similarly, but reports you can do more with. You can do more information, you can put it in different formats. So to access the reports, we want to go to the More button, first of all, and go to the reports. I want to point out a couple of differences. First of all, you'll see you always open on recent, but there's no pin. There's no down arrow or a pin to pin a report. This screen doesn't have the pin function. And so you're going to always open on recent. You can't get rid of all the junk that might be there, and I have a lot of it. But it's just set up this way. What I do want you to do is go, every time you go into reports, you should probably start with either your private reports, because each of you has your own folder in the system to create reports for yourself. Or what we have done is we've created reports. We, being the national staff, have created reports as templates that you can start with to create your own report. If you go to all folders, this is where you will find a lot of the pre-formatted reports, and you can still modify them. But the simplest way to build a report is find a report that is similar to what you're looking for, and then make the modifications. There's 3 folders I want to point out to you. Down here, there's individual reports, there's flotilla reports. We also have district and division. If you come up here, because it's alphabetical, there's also a folder called Auxiliary All Access. Auxiliary All Access is a new folder. This folder is to be used if someone creates a report that, after they talk to their management, they feel is something that's worth sharing with others. And then you have the ability to put the report, when you save it, in a shared folder. So if I go to your district, you'll see there's a shared folder for each division. And you would load or save your report to your shared folder. I don't know that you have, somebody's done, Terry did, a report. And then this would be that anybody
Actually,
in
Laurel,
the country can do it.
Can I jump in for 1 second?
Yep.
We're actually 11 Southern, so 114.
Oh, 114. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I went to the wrong one.
And the reason I'm making you go there is because I wanted to point out that I did put some, not 140, it's
114. There we go.
There.
I clicked over one. You are putting reports in.
Yes, I have been.
In what
and you
unit?
can click one. We had some requests. This is just an aside, but we had a request from the OTO, and the ops guys are all trying to figure out who needs QE rides in 2021. And so I actually have, I'm just pointing out to everyone, there is a report, division level report in each division. If you just click any of them with that report for the division. Okay, I shut up.
No, it's okay. And like I said, I would also point out that DIROC's reports has a QE check ride report in it for 2021, created by the Master Chief. He's been doing this forever, and he's got this in every district. So for you operations folks that are interested. I'm going to start by going to an individual report. Here we've created templates for your training record, your mission details, total mission hours. The difference here is this is for 2020. This is for all hours reported through AUXDATA, overall time. Your member training status report. If those of you who remember the old system, remember we had a training status report which looked at your competencies or your qualifications and where you stand with regards to currency requirements. And then vessel exam activities. These are templates. They've been built for you to use. So the simplest thing I can teach you to use is to take one, and I'm going to use training record. And you're going to see that the template displays a training record for Amanda Lee Constant. She's the person and it will show everything she's ever taken, every course. And you can sort the dates, high to low, by clicking here, there. But you don't want Amanda's record. So the easiest thing is to go and do just simply a filter, change the filter, and then download the output. So here I'll click on the funnel. These are the filters that are applied to create this report. I will click on the member ID and change that to another person, apply it. And now I have Andrew Preston Butler's training record. And this is his training record. And say I want to send this to Andy. I go over to the caret on the far right and click export. I have two export options. One is formatted, which goes into Excel. The other one is a comma separated value, but also opens in Excel. I would say if you're going to just save it and send it to someone, use the formatted. If you're going to want to manipulate it, or upload it into Access and run queries against it, I would use the details only report. I'm going to use formatted for this because I'm going to send it to Mr. Butler. That opens up in Excel. Chris, can you see Excel?
Not yet.
How about now?
No, it's on your browser screen still.
See, I hoped I'd gotten over that problem. I guess I can't do this. I've noticed in Zoom, if I don't have it open ahead of time, it won't show when I open it.
Not all reports can be exported.
No, this one's on my screen. My screen is not showing on yours. And all reports can be exported.
Try doing a screen share and switch what screen your Excel is on.
Okay.
There we go.
There
Okay.
you go.
There, okay, that helps. So this is now my exported report, and I can save it in Excel. I can send it to the member, and that's the easiest way to do it. So I guess I have to share back to the other one. So let me go back to
Correct.
this one. Okay. But most of us, even though this is the easiest way to get something, most of us probably want to be able to save it and look at it periodically in our own files. And it's always going to be updated. Every time you open it up again, it will always report. It will always show the most recent information. So to do that, let me go back. And again, I'm just going to all folders. I'm going to go to individual mission detail. This is for the 2020. So here I have the template shows I have the hours for Mr. Beebe. And this is, I want to create one of these reports for my hours and save it so that every time I go look at the report, I can see what hours I've reported. I like this report because it shows me the date of the activity logs. And sometimes I get my calendar and I get a little behind and I forget what I've submitted and what I haven't submitted. So I am going to take and click the Save As button. This is like cloning. I'm going to save as. I will make this my report on 2020 hours. And when I go to save it, I have to, there's a little clicking you have to do down here. I can't file it in the individual reports folder because that's the national folder. And if everybody filed there, we'd just be cluttering it up with everything. So I need to put it in my private folder. And so to do that, I want to click on the right, select folder, click all folders up here at the top that's underlined, and then click private and select. And now this has changed from individual reports to private, and save. So now I've saved that, and I'm going to change it to be what I want to see. I could change it a couple of ways. If I click edit up in the upper right, I get the report outline structure. So this is the list of the columns. And if I want to add a group, I can add a group. A group means you've taken one column and you want everything grouped by it. So for example, if I wanted everything grouped by date, I would group by date, or I group by mission code. I'm actually going to group it by mission code eventually. I can add columns if I want additional information. I can change some of the information viewed. If you look down here, this report actually, I haven't gone all the way across, includes a number of program visits and vessel exams given. I don't need that because I'm not a vessel examiner. I can remove it by clicking the X next to that item. I can, so I've removed those two. I can move the order of things around if I want to by just doing drag and drop. I'm going to add the activity log number because maybe I want to go check an activity log at some point. So I click on this add column and then you just pick from the list. And usually if it has something to do with that, everything about the member will be at the top and the activity logs will be at the bottom. But so I'm going to go activity, and it's mostly alphabetical. Activity duration, activity log, here we go. Record number, that's what I want. So let me put that record number in, and then I'm going to move that record number up so it's right in front of mission start. So I just drag up and down. And I'm going to add a group. I'm going to group it by, again, by the activity log mission code. And these headers up here are important because that's how you will see the data listed here. So go right, I'm going to go to the bottom, come up because I know it's going to be here. Activity log mission code. So I'm going to group it. I can also now change the filters. And the filters up here, you'll see there are two filters applied. All units, all time. The filter is 2020. And the member ID I want to change. Apply that. Now that's going to change it from John Beebe to me. And what I need to do is click Save and Run, which is in the upper bar, about halfway across. So now I have a report that shows my activity logs grouped by activity code. And just for giggles, if I go all the way to the bottom, you'll see that there's total. So here's the total for the grand total, but I want a subtotal by activity code. So I'll click that button. Click that button. And now my report shows subtotals by each activity code. So for 99 Bravo, 14 hours, 99 Delta, and you can see the log number and the date associated with that log. If I like it the way it is, I think these columns are a little wide. I can kind of squinch things in a little bit. I can now save that. I could add a chart if I wanted to, but more often I'm just going to save this. And that's going to be my report. So now when I go back to my private reports, let me go back to reports. And go to my private reports, which are also alphabetical, by the way. There's my report. And now every time I go in to look at it, it will be updated with whatever activity logs have been approved since I last created the report. So that's the second simple way to create a report. I want to go back to the report screen, the all flows, and point out one of the nice things about having the all access file. Rather than do this, I'll just go here. All folders. One nice thing about having the all access file is that we have people out there who have gotten very, very creative with reports. Some of them are IS officers, some are people in the performance measurements department. Some are people that are just really good at this and or have used Salesforce or other these tools. One of the reports, for example, you can actually access any district and look at the reports. One of the reports I've borrowed actually comes out of Fifth Southern because we've been working with public education. And they have a report here called PE Course Statistics. This is a great report because it will show sort of what the classes have been. Now this is, if you want, you should always check your filters, by the way, to see what it's looking for. And this one is this year, 2020. And this is what they've written, how it's been written. These are all the filters they've been written, and the unit number 054. If I took the unit number and changed it to my, starts with 013, for example, that would change it to my district. I could change it to my flotilla. I could change it and then save it either in my all access file or save it as a private folder. So there's a lot of tools out there. There's a lot of reports that people are building that you may also take advantage of. What was I going to say? You do want to rename these. You do not want to overwrite these. You want to make sure you rename them. And if you create them, put them in your private folder first and save them there rather than saving them to all access, because there is the potential that someone could come into the all access file and corrupt your report inadvertently. They may change it or save it without changing the file, and that would overwrite your work, and that way you can restore your work. So there's a couple things. We are now, the IS department is putting together an index that we're updating periodically of what is available in the all access folders in all districts, and that should become available shortly, so that you'll have an index you'll be able to look at to see if there's something out there that you want to use before you build. I also want to show you something else about reports as they're built. I'm back in the all folders and I've gone to the flotilla level. Here we have the member roster, which you can run for any unit, a flotilla unit. Unit training record. This again is the same training record report that you have for an individual, only this would be a lot of pages because it would show everybody in the flotilla. The flotilla member short report. The short report is name, first, last name, phone, and email. So if you just want a contact list of flotilla members, go in and modify this for your flotilla and save it as your flotilla in your private folder or in your all access folder, and you'll have your short report. We have an all crew, all coxswains, personal watercraft, qualified vessel examiners, flotilla vessel examiner report, program visitors, training status report. So this is the training. We had the training status report in the old AUXDATA. I'm actually going to just show you this one. This report still needs a little work, but here you can see what people are qualified for. And if I can get it to go over to the right, when their qualification may have expired, whether they're in re-air or not. And these are all in this column are all the tasks. This column are all the tasks that require you to, that you're required to take and stay up to date with in order to have your status stay certified. This gentleman is a pilot and he has stayed certified, but a lot of other people, and it's going to show everything, unfortunately. It's going to show every year of flight checks, and they'll show which ones have expired and which ones are still current. And eventually we're going to clean this template up so that you will only get the most current status and not have 100 lines if you've been a member for a long time. The other thing so the other thing I wanted to point out, if I go to all folders again, is how we create a new report. I think you can get a lot of what you need by just going into either going into the folders for the district, division, or the flotilla, and then making that modification, either change the filter or save. And I'm going to do another one. So I'll show you that save procedure again. In fact, let me do it with flotilla reports. And let me go down to, because this is a report that I think a lot of people would. Our Flotilla Activity Summary 2020. So now you want to run a report, shows all your flotilla's hours. And this is 2020, and that's for the person. That's not the one I wanted. There is a little bit of hunt and peck here. The summary only, and if it says summary, it only gives you totals. Here it is. Flotilla mission detail. Okay, I'm going to create this for another flotilla. So here you see the report actually shows the people in the flotilla and their hours. So let me save this. I'm going to save this again to my private folders. So I select all folders, private, and click the select folder. Now it's a private report, and save it. Let's go in and edit it. Click the edit button. I get the control panel on the side here. So I have mission start time, duration, position, program visits, and vessel exams. I'm going to leave program visits and vessel exams in there, although I'm not a huge fan of the formatting. Right now it's grouped on mission code, And it's grouped on last name, first name. So that keeps a member's records all together. So that's important. I have three filters, 2020 filter, activity log unit number equals, and I want to change this to the unit I want. Apply that. And then I'm going to also change this one and apply that. That didn't work. There it is. And save and run it. Let's see what I get. Okay, I've got my folks now in that flotilla with their program visits and all that. There's really no good way to zero suppress this, unlike old AUXInfo. If I want to then take this out, I can export it. I can save it. I'll save it first. I can export it out. I'm going to put it in a formatted and export. And now I've got internal server error. We've had this periodically coming out, this internal server error. So I'm sorry about that. This one apparently is not going to work. So let me go back. Normally, I could be able to export this and then convert it. I actually am able, you can convert it in Excel and, group things differently or change the aspect from columns to, change your X and Y axis so the members appear in a column down the left while your activities appear across the top, et cetera, et cetera. So you have the ability to create reports for your flotillas to show your members their hours. I just wasn't able to do it quite right this time. So this is why I said, Chris says reporting is new to us, and particularly this system it's new to us because we're not totally sure that it's going to work every time because some of the reports work and some don't. So what I really advise you to do, if you go back to the home, we have a lot of different help text documents in here, including user guides. And the user guides include a guide on reporting. And one of the best things about the reporting guide, and you can find this on the National Help Desk, is this document, Reporting Basics in AUXDATA 2 version 1, June 2020. If anybody can see my screen. Two things in this document are critical to being successful in running reports. One is section 334, which is a section that describes all the tips to reporting. Things like when you're picking to add the member ID, you'll see that there's both a member's ID data field with an S or a member ID. Never use the member's ID with the S. It also has an appendix that lists all of the report templates and formats that are out there. So that is a very key piece. That's particularly key if you're building a new report. So let me go back to my reports and let's start with something new. So new report, you click on the button on the upper right-hand side of the screen. Now it's going to ask you to choose a report type. And this is where you need that manual to understand what each of these types will give you. I'm going to, for this purpose, I'm going to choose member with awards and click continue. Again, it's going to give me a template. And my job is going to be to modify the template to the way I want it. And it's going to default to me. And because it's of one of the filters that's applied. So we're going to change that too, so I can run it for every member in my unit. So I'm looking at this. This is really not giving me a lot of information. Want to slide this over. It's telling me, I'm trying to get it to slide to show the whole thing, but the slide's not working. Now I'm going to have to go across. So it's giving my name, my address, my phone number, my award record number. Well, that's not a very useful awards report. So the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of the salutation, the title, the unit name, the mailing address. I'm going to get rid of all the stuff that doesn't have anything to do with what I need to know. And that'll make life a lot easier. You don't need my phone number or my fax number. And God knows we don't need the email. I don't need the unit owner. I am going to leave the award record number there just for curiosity, and I'm going to add columns. I want the actual award. What are the awards? So we'll go to the bottom here. Let's say, let's put in the award. Let's add the award type, because we have different types of awards. So let me get award type. And let's get the award date. Okay, and I'm going to actually group them because, as you know, sometimes we get multiple awards of the same type. I do a lot of public education, so I have multiples of the Public Education Service Award. So I am actually going to group by award because that'll tell me how many stars really should be on the ribbon. And now I'm going to check my filters. And the filter is saying, show me my members, which is why it's only me that's showing up here. I'm going to change that to show me all units. If I say all units, I can make this report function for any unit and any member. But before I do that, I got to think. Go back to my outline. I'm going to add another column. I'm going to add an ID. A member ID, so I can run it for myself or any other member. I have to pick member ID, and I'm going to move that. So that is actually up before the first name. All right, now I can go in, because I was afraid if I change the filter, then I'd get this enormous report that would run if I change this before I put that ID in there. And like I said, I'm about ready to do it again. Add the filter, member ID again. This way, when I run it, it will not take 20 minutes to run. You want to make sure that you've got it fairly well winnowed down before you actually run the report. Equals. Okay, let's do that. And now I can change it to all units. Apply. Save and run. So I'm going to call this save it. It's going to go in my private reports, which is the right folder. Save it. And now you can see the award, member ID, record number, the date, the award date, and the type of award it is, whether it's a service award, a program award, an individual award, etc. In hindsight, I may go back and say, I don't really need the record number. I can get rid of that. I don't like the order things are in. Do I really need, I can edit it again. Take out the Take out the record number. Save and run. And there's the award. And that's a little more useful. That's how you build a new report and save it. So that's pretty much what I had for reports, because I know there's going to be a lot of questions. And I will say one other thing. We've talked a little bit about some of the data that may be or may be missing. We did have issues with migration from the system, from the old system to the new. They are working now on remigrating data. We know it has affected some of the facility records. We know it has affected some of the time activity logs. And if you have to run a report for anything that is pre-2000, I suggest you still use AUXInfo. AUXInfo is still available. It's still open for use. And I know I have to run like 5-year rolling reports. I go to AUXInfo first before I go here for something 2019, 18, 17, etc. And only here will I run something for 2020. And fortunately, 2020 has been a really light year when it comes to activity. But the reports, anything that has been put in since we went live is here. It's just some of the data that didn't migrate over. And a lot of the data, particularly for some of our older members that came from the old AUXMIS system, pre-2001, that system hasn't gotten put in here yet. They're working, Acumen actually started working on that about 2 weeks ago. And so you will see things updating over the next few months as we get the migration issues straightened out. Migration also affects competencies or qualifications for those of you who may be aware that some of the competencies don't look right. We are, again, working on that with Acumen. So there's a lot still to go with reports. So what questions can I answer on reports?
Okay, Laurel, thank you, Laurel, so much. And guys, for everyone here, I mean, this is just scratching the surface, as you can imagine. We could spend literally a day or two on reports and still not get through it all. So there is a lot here. Somebody in chat said, thank goodness there's a recording. It's very true.
Did I go too fast?
No, well, no, you didn't. But we got to kind of aim for the middle on some of this. But we do have a couple of questions. And here's one from me. AUXInfo, I was told, was going to sunset at some point, and I'm like most of us that, especially that know it, praying that it's not going to be anytime soon, and in particular around award time. Do you have any update on that, Laurel?
We're not sunsetting AUXInfo for at least another year.
Oh, that's great news. Okay.
Yes, no. AUXInfo is actually now, when we're trying to recover all these competencies and some of the facilities and some of that stuff, AUXInfo is how we're doing some of it. All of AUXDATA is now on a hard drive.
Okay.
And sharing that with Acumen is one thing, but for the rest of us, if we want to point out to Acumen something, we use info to get it.
Yeah, excellent. That's very good news. Do you know if there's a report either now or in the future that'll mimic the annual member letter?
I do know. It's not a good answer though. Both the unit summary report and the annual member letter are incredibly complex reports because they pull in data from all the different sectors of the database. If you remember AUXInfo, we had cubes. And this system kind of has cubes too. There's member data, there's facility data, etc. We have not been successful yet in creating an annual member letter. We are working on instructions on how to create something similar, but it's not going to be the same. And we cannot create, so far we've not been able to create a unit summary report.
Okay.
And
okay.
Sue Davies is saying that that's not going to happen.
Right. And the closest we have to the old training management report is that training status report that you were showing earlier, right?
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
And there is work to try to build that, probably not with the color coding that we used to have.
Right.
And we are building the OXOP status report. That one is actually going to come out in another week or so.
Oh, that'll be helpful.
Yeah.
Excellent. Other moderators have any questions? Feel free. Okay.
Stunned silence.
Yeah.
Again, the real start small. Go into all folder, go into the reports, go to the all folders, and look at what's in there for individual reports and use one to practice. Go into an individual report, create a report for yourself. You've got a lot of things you can run here. You can run your status report. You can run your, if you're a vessel examiner, you could run vessel examiner activities.
Right.
There's things you can do here that'll get you started and familiar with using some of the tools, be they the column creation tool or the filter tool.
Yes. The reports is one area of the auxiliary, everybody, where plagiarism is highly encouraged. You want to basically find a report that looks good and has just about everything you want, and then just customize it for yourself with your own unit or your own member ID. That is the quickest, easiest way to do it. You just got to remember the terminology is a little different from the custom views or lists. Instead of cloning, you're actually saving as. But again, use your IS team to answer the questions, and we'll find the answers for you.
Right. Also, I will make a plug for the AUXDATA 2 help desk. We are, if people feel that there's the need for a specific report that will be used a lot, we will take it as a feature request. So go to the AUXDATA 2 help desk and put in a service ticket, which actually you can do right here under requests. And if I go to new, it will ask me for what kind of request. Come on. If you go to the service request, it'll give you a screen, and you can pick reports from that part. You can pick type of request, feature request, and then give us a description of what you want. And we will put people on it and let you know whether it's something that's doable.
Yes. The only thing I'll interject here is please don't use this for routine questions about how to do something in the system. We want to use the IS staff and other members that may be more familiar in AUXDATA 2 before we inundate the national staff, the help desk with hey, I can't do this or I can't do that. Enhancement requests or feature requests, report requests, absolutely. But
Yeah, and I will second what Chris says, because I'm the one that has to read all these requests. I will tell you right off, if you're saying I can't figure out how to get my facility inspected, I will say go back and talk to your IS staff.
Okay.
But if something's broken, if something is, we just had one this week. So I went to clone something, an activity log. A member went to clone an activity log and it failed and got an error message. Something broke. And so that's what we need to know. And Chris, today, I've already reported the one you told me about this morning.
Right.
That's what the service desk is for.
Excellent. Thank you again, Laurel, so much.
Thank you. I'm going to stop the share. You can take it back.
And Commodore, at this point, I think I'll throw it back to you, sir, for any final comments you may have. Personally, I just want to thank everyone that participated for both weekends, and moderators, you did a fantastic job. And again, Laurel and Bill Schultz, fantastic. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Laurel. Thank you very much. Everybody, now that we've gone through this, we have the basics. We are going to break down these videos like I did last week and get those posted up on the website. Please go back to your flotillas, get with your members and get them trained and get them to at least put their hours in. It's time that we all need to be instructors now. Play with it. You're not going to blow the system up. If you hit the wrong button, the worst thing that's going to happen, you're going to get kicked out and you might have to put in a help ticket. But depend on the IS staff for questioning. And other than that, that's all I have, Chris. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you, Commodore. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Great job for both Chris's.
Thanks.
Merry
Laura.
Christmas to all of you, and please stay safe.
Yes, everybody have a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. And we'll see you next year.
Absolutely.
Excellent class, Chris, and for all the other presenters.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Very nice. And Ronelle says hello, Laurel.
Hey, Renelle.
No, she's not. She just texted me. I told her you were going to be on today. They're getting lots of rain on the coast.